Welcome to Thriving Tribesmen. My name is Corey, your host, and I'm excited to be making this episode. Really enjoyed my birthday weekend, spent a lot of time with my wife, spent some time with my kids yesterday, so it was absolutely incredible. But what made it even more amazing was the fact that the guys on Reignited Men, they had all really positive feedback. Now, I don't know if that's because it was my birthday, so they wanted me to just have positive feedback, but generally I started seeing that in the last few weeks, there's been less stuff that we're trying to resolve during the weekend because it's part of our program is the fact that we have interactions pretty much every single day. From Monday to Friday, we're having phone calls. We've got an hour slot that we speak to the guys and we're dealing with those situations. And then from Wednesday to about Friday, we're sort of priming them for the weekend. How are you going to be acting around the weekend? What is the mission? How are we going to turn things around? And just depending on where they are within that relationship, they're working on, we started calling it this way, where that within a relationship, you're either forcing her to grow to the place where she needs to be sexually, or you're sort of waiting for her to grow. So if she's already in a place where she's trying to figure out what's going on with herself and she's making steps towards you guys having more sex, then you sort of wait back and then wait to see what really happens. So some of the guys that are within those different interactions. So some guys are pushing in order for it to grow. Some guys are sort of leaning back. So the guys that are forcing things to grow are the guys that are now having these really difficult conversations and they're really pushing. And these conversations in the past, for many of you guys, and especially they've gone really terrible, where you're trying to communicate what the relationship needs. And usually when you do that, is that you get these interactions that start off you trying to say something that's going to benefit the relationship, but then for some reason you end up being the one that's caused all the problems in the relationship. So there's this sort of almost massive shift that every time you bring something up that is going to be beneficial for the relationship, you feel like you then have to be defensive. You have to feel like you have to be trying to explain yourself, and because you're now being with the spotlight is now on you, and you are the one that's causing the issues within the relationship, and so there's something that you are not doing that's causing that thing within the relationship. And again, it's just because we've never been able to navigate those conversations. Some of it is because you don't understand your self-worth, which is why I've been speaking a lot about self-worth the last few weeks. Because once you understand your self-worth, then whenever somebody blames you for something, yes, you can take ownership for some of the things that are true, but at the same time, you can also push back and say, you know what, okay, I get that what you're saying here, but really what I'm worth and what I need is this. So again, it's having those conversations where you can stand your ground, where you don't implode, you don't emotionally dissolve. Again, those are the things that become very important when you have these conversations. And a lot of these guys have got very good at it, where they get into those conversations knowing that they both don't want to be in this situation, because generally when you have those conversations, she's going to go through a series of things in order to pull away from that conversation. Usually she'll shame you, she'll then blame you, and then she'll even question the whole interaction and say, you know what, why are we even having this conversation? And that's just in all efforts to try and remove herself from this really awkward, very difficult conversation. Because again, this is most people are programmed to walk away from those difficult conversations. And anytime things get awkward, you sort of walk away, or you stop, or you. So again, when you have these interactions within a relationship, again, it's because again it becomes to the self-worth. If he doesn't feel like she's worth something, then she will feel awkward and want to walk away. If you feel like you're not worth something, again, it becomes very difficult for you to have those difficult conversations, because now you're really trying to take on what the other person is saying and taking ownership for the faults that you've caused within that relationship. Again, this becomes, remember the stuff about self-worth. If you know yourself and you know what you represent and what is important to you, this becomes an easier communication and becomes even more amazing when you understand how that person is going to try and sort of navigate the way out of that conversation, and so you can pull them back in, keep them safe, and then keep them collaborative in that conversation. And when you can do that, it changes the whole interaction. And when I think about Reignited Men, I think this is one of the biggest breakthroughs for our program, because it is similar to when you decide to teach somebody how to swim. You can teach them all the strokes, but if you've never taught them how to breathe while they're making the strokes, then they will never, ever, but they will learn how to swim, but the process will take a lot longer. But if I can teach them first how to put their head in water and then make strokes and then breathe, then it becomes so much easier. So this is how you take in air. This is how you move within the water and preserve air, and so on and so forth. And when you can do that, everything becomes so much easier, because then they feel confident to be inside water and know how to control their breathing, so they can be able to sustain themselves on a long period of swim. So this is where it becomes rubber meets the road for us, because I've now realized that the moment I can teach you how to have these conversations, especially the difficult ones, and make it win-win when you walk away from it, it then becomes very powerful, because it means that wherever you want the relationship to go, you can navigate it. And this is a sign of a leader, because most people think being a leader is barking orders. But I think as a leader, you have to be able to sell the idea first. And when you sell that idea first, then that person is going to follow. And they'll follow because they feel that they're sold into the idea. And when you can sell the idea and if they follow because of it, it's more powerful than when you hold somebody and then you drag them along. Because when you do drag them along, the moment you let go, they're going to go back to where they were. And this is why when you make ultimatums, especially when it comes to sexless relationship, make ultimatums, or if you don't have any more sex, we're going to get divorced, I'm going to walk away, I've had enough of this. If we don't have sex, then, people make ultimatums. It becomes this process where you're forcing things, and when you do let go, it's just going to go bang. It's just going to go terribly wrong. I mean, I've heard these guys that say, leaving is leverage, which is an interesting take, and there is some truth to it. But then again, the truth is that that person feels forced to go to where you want them to go. But when you do let go, that person is going to leave you in the end. So again, a lot of it is not collaborative, but when you can learn how to have these interactions like these guys have been doing, it becomes so much easier to navigate those conversations, and for her to feel like she's winning, even though initially when you get into those conversations, it's very uncomfortable, very difficult. It's putting a spotlight on both of you, and to be able to spotlight on both of you, because as you putting this issue within the relationship, pointing at this issue within the relationship, and you're now trying to navigate through that issue, she will want to pull back, because see already, and I think that's the empathetic side of things, where you have to think about that, the fact that women adjust more in terms of their parenting. They adjust more about their husband, the way they treat their husbands, and how they look and how they're perceived by people, and generally, again, even just their beauty and how when they age. So there's a lot of judgment that comes around along with being a woman, that is probably us guys will never understand. And when you put yourself in a situation where you're now in a relationship, you're bringing up this problem, she will feel judged, and she will feel like she needs to fight back even more, because she's already battling so much when it comes to just the world and the world view and how things perceive women. So this is one of the things that makes it very difficult to have those conversations, because this is the one place where she feels in control, because you've been massively submissive. You've been trying your best to not to rock the boat in order for you to be successful in a relationship, but obviously it's now caused you into a sexless relationship. So again, I can go more and more about this, but I'm just going to knock it on the head here. I think I've hammered the point home that having the ability to have those conversations becomes a very important thing within your relationship, because when you can do that, it changes everything. It's that ability to be able to swim and breathe at the same time, and that makes the difference within trying to change your relationship. So hopefully that's something that's exciting for you guys. If you've got any questions, go to thriving_tribesmen on the Instagram, and we'll be able to get to you. If you've got any episode ideas, write them down over there, and then we'll make some episodes for you too. So thank you very much, guys. I'll be seeing you guys soon. Take care.